What have we done?
I'm Dan.
And I'm Jess. And together we've bought the farm of our dreams. Only at the moment, it's not looking that great. We've bought a falling down farm in Scotland, which is not mortgageable in its current condition. The deal we have with the seller gives us exactly 2 years to get this place in a mortgageable condition, or we lose the whole lot and end up bankrupt. If you're interested to follow along with our journey, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click that bell icon to always get notifications when we upload another video. Knowing that we were going to get the keys on a Wednesday, I headed up early with little Bean Sprout and stayed over in a local hotel, and then Dan packed up some essential bits and pieces to enable us to kind of get started the second we arrived, but also to make sure that I can carry on running the businesses, which we'll touch on in a second. So if you think I look familiar, then that's probably because you know us from our other YouTube channel, which has been running for 4 years, and that YouTube channel is all about dog photography. So I guess we'll touch on that here. But really, this YouTube channel is to document our process as we tackle the largest challenge that we've ever faced in our entire lives. So it all started back in Yorkshire, where Dan packed up to leave. He did get a little bit emotional. I feel like we ought to owe it to him to play that through. And then we'll circle back to what we found when we entered.
So, we're bright and early, Wednesday morning. Everything's packed. 3 out of the 4 dogs are in the car. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but today's the day, hopefully. Something that was way beyond anything that I ever thought I'd have when I was younger.
Don't worry though, it wasn't all sad. He also had a fun time driving over.
Heading over to the west side. Whoop whoop, it's the sound of the police. Nina, Nina.
When the keys were released, we were sat there ready and waiting, and we dashed off. Unfortunately though, it was heaving down with rain.
We're just pulling up to the drive for the very first time. I'm feeling so excited, but also it's peeing it down with rain.
The driveway is exceptionally long, it's not in a great condition, and it goes over and down a quite steep hill, to be honest. So when we'd been able to access the driveway and head down into the yard, the first thing that we did was we just wanted to triple check the properties, because the last time that we'd actually been here was 6 months ago. So it's gone through another winter, it was already in a bad condition. So we just wanted to get a lay of the land and see, you know, is everything okay? Is everything kind of as we left it? And aside from some additional mold in the smaller property on the site, there wasn't really much change there or elsewhere inside the farm building. So then the mission switched to trying to find the electrics. And so when we eventually found the electrics and the meter board, there was a lot of poking, prodding, checking with the help of my dad and my stepmom till we were able to access the electrics to turn on the cottage electrics, which is where we're going to be setting up our base camp. So this property has been empty for longer than the main property on the site. However, it is in a far better condition structurally and also internally. So although it doesn't look like much at this stage, it is a really solid house, and so that gave us our safe place to camp specifically for the first night, where we threw up a bed so that we were ready to go the next morning. However, what we also did on that first day was triple check the main property, which we already knew was in a bad condition. However, I don't think anything could have prepared us for exactly what we found.
This was like, it felt dry, it smelt dry, it was warm, and now it's dead.
Well, no, it's not dead. It's just got water come through. You know, it's fine. You're not going to have a new floor. These joists, although they're very old and they're wet, they'll dry. They're not rotten. Look. Yeah, I can see the water coming in there. Dripping. There's no point in covering up any of this. You're much better stripping it all out and doing it right.
It was like you open the door and then the first thing you hear is rushing water, like running water, like drip, like falling from a height water. And that in itself, for me, was just a bit like, oh my God. That was the moment where I was like, what have we done? Because it is so bad, honestly.
I thought it would be good if we just did a little bit of a walkthrough, and then we'll work out exactly where we want to go next with the project.
Wait, hold up. This is a house that's been here for years, as you can tell. that bit, well, part of that bit at the back there has been here for about 400 years, as far as my research can tell us. And then the rest of it's been here since like 18 something or other. And she's in a bad state. We can show you our feature wall. It is what we like to call shabby chic. Oh, it's so mouldy. And if you think this is bad, wait till you look down there. So recently, fairly recently anyway, the ceiling's sort of fallen off. Down into the pantry area where we have water pooling on the floor, because why not? Mould, 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 and so moving on through the pond, on into the kitchen. As you can see in this room, we have only the very best new modern appliances. And I know what you guys are going to be thinking here. You're going to be like, well, this is an Arga. She's worth some money. But I mean, she's also really expensive to run, and it's probably a fire risk. Should we call her Aggie? This is Agatha. Agatha might need to go RIP into a graveyard for Argas. We did steal a fridge from here the other day, I'm not going to lie, because it did actually work. So after giving it a deep clean, thank you very much, Karen, the fridge did move with us, and then we may or may not steal a really decent condition dishwasher actually. Smiley face. This window area is probably one of like my favourites in the entire place, because the depth of this wall is clearly visible here. And this is the oldest part. So we're in the oldest part of this house now. And I just think the history, like how many families, well, I know how many
Have
families.
died.
No, not have died. Dan, how many families have lived in here, cooked in here, died in here? And then we come along into the utility area. The utility area has a burner phone just for nefarious activities. This sink is a gem, so it's going to take a lot, I think, to bring it kind of back to life. But there's a shallow part and a deep part. Amazing sink with a draining board over there as well on top. So some little gems if we go through the plan of fixing this place up. Lots of random bits of storage, always helpful. Taking a left through the indoor swimming pool, heading takes us to the pee-pee hole. So in through this little dining area is what it probably was used for before. Will this wall stay? Probs not. However, likely is load bearing, and therefore it might be a little bit tricky to take that one out, but probably going to go because Dan, because Dan's Dan. Mould, wallpaper kind of, Oh, didn't fall off as easy as I was expecting that. Shall I keep going?
Stick to your day job.
There are some little features that, we don't know how far back in time we go. The room that I like to call the library. So this is going to be my library because I love books and have no time to read them. So I can just look at them in a pretty environment. Jesus Christ, that's got way worse. Holy sh**. Okay, we might actually need masks in here. Don't touch it, Dan. We don't have masks on. One thing about the library room, which is what I'm calling it right now anyway, that I really like is the coving and also the wood paneling around the windows. So, I don't really want to. But some really nice wood paneling in here that I'd love to see extended a little bit further around the room. However, really good sized room. As you can see by my height, really tall ceilings. So there's actually no risk of Dan hitting his head here. So, what is that light? Moving on into really a sort of manky, odd cupboard, storage cupboard area, down into the snooker room, which is not what it's going to be used for, is it, Dan?
You just said it. Never planted the words.
So in this room, we've got a really, really, really good log burner. So absolute winning on that front.
Really good log burner in here. Wood paneling on the windows again. It's not painted in this room. And this room's got some really interesting features to it that, again, we can't work out if they're original or not. We'll need to take them back. But there is a ceiling rose that's really detailed. And the ceiling rose, and also all of like the architrave and the cornices, and I don't know what they're all called, is heavily detailed. There are a few cracks in it, and stripping it back to repaint is going to be a massive job if we do that. It may be, however, slightly too damaged, especially in this back right hand corner that's just chilling over here. One thing that this room does actually have is some double doors that go on out to the outside. This has a really nice view down the garden. It's not south facing, it's west facing, and actually a really good condition patio. Like the patio is actually in fairly decent condition. Anywho, we move, and this time we're going up. Again, more wood paneling on the windows / window frames, and then we come up into the upstairs area. So from here, which ceiling do you want to see falling down? That's the question. Let's go this way. That came off. Probably, this is, oh, it's not wet though. It's damp. So we've got a lot of wallpaper that should be really easy to just sort of pull off. That actually isn't a bad thing. One more. Into here.
Rugrats.
Angelica was my favourite one. Little tiny kids room in here, nothing really to shout home about. Little bits of blown plaster, not the end of the world. Moving on into falling down area number 2. Oh, that's come down more. We've got more on that one. How fantastic. Every day you come in here, more falls down. It's a really beautiful thing. It's like you just don't know what you're going to get because every single time it's different. Oh, dead bird.
Jeremy.
R.I.P. Jeremy. Shall I just go to Narnia? I mean, the real question is, do we just knock it down and start again? That's the conundrum that we're under. So coming into section 2 of the upstairs area, I think we pan right to a less broken bit. We have some mould. Great. And we also have this absolutely beautiful piece of furniture here. Not to everybody's tastes, or mine as it currently stands. However, we do have the original receipt for this wardrobe. The original receipt says that this wardrobe was purchased in
1982.
and cost
£800.
which is in today's money about
£2,000.
a lot of money for a wardrobe. Peepee hole. Ceiling area number, well, I don't even know what number we're on now. We've got mould growing on the carpet, mould growing on the walls. Let's not dwell on the negatives. Which one would you like to begin with?
What, negatives?
Yeah.
We've already started. It's a dry airing cupboard.
It is a dryer. No, it's not.
For sake, you're joking.
No, there's water literally just dripped past my head. Can you see it? It's here. Starting with indoor water feature number 2, we have the wet room. Now, I'm actually not going to walk on this today because it's looking a little bit wetter than it actually was the other day. And this ceiling is just about to crack through. May, what the f*** have we done?
Oh.
Yeah, loads more has come in since we were last up here.
Well, yeah, it's pissed it down for
a
about...
bit, so that roof must
No,
have
it
gone
hasn't,
on
Nugget.
Wednesday.
It's absolutely chucked it down all night. Why do you think the yard's so wet?
Oh, I don't know. It's absolutely fuck. Oh, oh, smells gross. White mould. Oh, look at that. It's got a right little colony going on. This is like a full mask job now. On the plus side, it's a really nice view of our field out of this window. Yeah, but between Wednesday and now, well, Thursday and now, it's been, what, 2 days? This has developed much quicker than I was expecting it to have developed. Given the logic that I thought that the roof sitch had happened like a few weeks ago, I don't think it has. I think the roof sitch happened this week. Alrighty. Oh, let me get out of this house. Can't deal with it. It's just a lot worse than I remembered it being. I'm scared.